All right, everybody. Thank you for joining me again. Some of you perhaps, and whether you're here live or watching later, thanks a lot for joining. This is going to be a session on Google Geo tools for GEG APAC 5.0. Well, GEG APAC Weekend 5.0. We have sessions in multiple languages all across the Asia Pacific region and beyond. We got some people presenting from Kuwait and Colombia together later tonight, for example. So that's going to be pretty cool. So make sure you check out the schedule. Make sure you get a certificate at the end of the day as well, because we are going to be giving certificates to you for participating. I'll give you that link towards the end, but you can find that on the schedule of all the sessions anyway. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen here with you. Let me just choose my layout here. And we're going to kick this off. All right, let me click hide on that. I'm working on my own here, as I often do, folks, just to let you know. It's always nice to have somebody in the backstage area, where they can kind of take care of these things for you. All right, so this is about being an explorer, how you can bring the world to your classroom. We're actually going to look at more than Google Earth, My Maps, and arts and culture. This is an overview session. I figure it's going to take probably about 30 minutes. I am long-winded, so maybe a little bit longer. So we are going to look at those three tools, but I'm going to start with a few things maybe you don't know exist or maybe haven't seen in a while. So keep in mind that as we look at geo tools, we're not looking at them we're looking at them for different reasons. One is for learning history and culture. One is to learn about the earth and geography and geology and things like that. And also storytelling, right? I'm big into storytelling. And we want students creating content. So I'm going to show you these things that we can use for students in a way that they can create content, not so much for arts and culture, for example. But we're going to look at something called Google Story Spheres. I had the fear put into me last month. I was doing a presentation and it was offline and I thought they got rid of it. But it is a very cool tool and we're going to start with that one. But again, Earth projects, creating a tour on Google Earth. We'll look at My Maps and how you can use, Google Sheets from a Google form to upload and create a map quickly and change content. Briefly with arts and culture, because I have a friend of mine who's going to be doing arts and culture later on today. But I do want to point out a couple of things here. It looks like expeditions might be coming back, people. Hey, it's good to see you again. All right, we got Arisha, great to see you. And we've got Nur Azreen in here too. Thank you for joining again. Tell me what you think about this, folks. If you used Google Expeditions before, this is the VR headset where you can do tours around the world or, look at different places. Coming soon on the App Store. Apparently, it's already on Android, Google Play. Oh, goodness. If that happens, I'm going to be so happy. But I do want to point out something that a friend of mine in the United States put out. She put this together. People were looking for AR and VR tours. Well, here's what she did. She put this together using Google Data Studio. Let's say, for example, I'm going to go with history and geography because I'm a history geography person. But note here that you can choose different things. So I've chosen my category. It's filtering it for me. Let me see. Do I want to go by a title? I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to scroll. 7 Wonders of the World. All right, that's a cool geography thing. Let me click on that. And so what she has done is linked up, what Google has on offer for students to learn, about the world, and in some cases in 360. So here's an example, right? Now, this is 7 Wonders of the Modern World, by the way, right? So, here is, an example that somebody's kind of put together. Let me go with, let's see, the Battle of Hastings. That one got me curious when I was playing around with this before. So you notice these are linked to Google Arts and Culture, but they're specifically augmented reality or virtual reality. And so if you scroll through, you're going to find these different places where you can kind of engage your students a little bit more. I'll leave that to you to kind of play around a little bit. I just wanted to let you know that this is here. And I will share this slide deck with you later. In fact, before I forget, why don't I just put that in the chat right now? Because this is where it's nice to have somebody working backstage with you. Because if they're in the studio, then I can just keep going and they can post things for you. But let me put that here. Slides deck. And there you can access these resources. Now, where was I on this? I do want to point out one thing, Google Local Guides. It's kind of fun. Um, Google Local Guides is where you take photos and you make comments about places around the world. This one here is in Japanese. So anyway, you can actually connect with people. It's a program. I wouldn't really use it in school, but it is kind of fun to take photos and earn points and things like that. I myself, I'm up to something like 170 million photo views on Google Maps right now, because this is directly linked to Google Maps. But check out Google Local Guides; it's kind of fun. All right, so I haven't told you about myself yet, so hey, let's do that right now. I think people watching probably do, maybe know me, but for those watching later who don't, my name is Nate. I teach DP history and MYP individuals and societies at Nagoya International School in Japan. I'm an educational technology consultant. I spent about 4 years as a part-time technology coach, but had to go back into the classroom. But I do consulting and things like this because I just love it. I am a Google Earth education expert. I had a special program that I went through with Google, so I'm always ready to spread the love about Google Earth like I am today. And you can reach me in these different social media platforms. Again, they're in the slide deck. You can check that out later. And please do connect with me, though. So when you're putting things together, especially when you're telling stories, do your best to be equitable and honest and represent the world honestly and faithfully to how it exists, kind of thing, right? Think about your audience, think about the age level, the amount of text you're going to use, because it's going to create that product that's more appropriate for your students in your classes, right? Also, when you go to make stuff on, using Google tools, I do recommend you do your research first and you get your citations and things like that done first, because it makes the building process go much more quickly, and have your citations ready and things like that. Always want to give credit to credit where credit's deserved, right? Okay, now I want to show you Google Story Spheres first. Now you might be thinking Story Sphere, well, what's that about? Well, I think 360-degree tours are actually very valuable for students. It allows them to kind of see a place, right? And Google Story Spheres, I'm certain a lot of people do not quite know it. So I'm going to give you a look at a couple of examples I've made, and I'm going to show you how quickly it is to make it. Now, the challenge with this is finding 360-degree photos, but if you have access to a database where you can get them for free, fantastic. If not, I'll show you how you can use the Ricoh Theta to take your own photos of certain places. But anyway, we'll show you about this a little bit. So this is a Shinto shrine close to where I live. I took this photo with my Ricoh Theta camera. And so you notice here, it's not automatically set to play. But Katizuka Shrine is a fascinating place because now I know you can't hear that because the way I'm sharing my tab right now, okay? But you get the idea. You can scroll around and look at something. Now, it's not street view, so you can't move forward, you can't move backward, but you can tell a story using that one image, and you can add multiple scenes in there. Let me show you another one here. This is Yasukuni Shrine. It's a very controversial place, actually, in Japan. Some of Japan's neighbors don't like it. So if you scroll here, there's me taking the photo a few years ago, definitely before the pandemic. And this is the shrine. And of course, you click on the audio. And this could be music or whatever. So let me show you quickly how you can create this. Tell me what you think of this, by the way, folks. What do you think of Story Spheres? Does it look cool? So I'm logged in, so I'm going to click on Create right there. This is how simple it is. The challenge, like I said, is getting the 360 images. I'm going to put Kyoto Fushimi Inari. All right, put that in like that. You have to choose or accept the terms and conditions. I'm going to click next. And let's see, I got to get a 360-degree image, and I do have one. So I'm going to click upload. And I'm going to go to my Kyoto trip photos. Let's see, Fushimi Inari, 360 photos. Which one am I going to go with? I'm going to go with I want to get one of the ones where it's like in a super famous kind of location. I think I took those ones towards the end of the day. Let's see how these ones are. I know. I'm being a bit ridiculous here. There we go. Let's go with that one. Let's open that up. Hey, Sudipta, great to see you. Rio, you're here again. Hey, 3 for 3. I love it. The power of visualization with story spheres. That's right, Kamal. Okay, so now I'm scrolling around here. This is a photo that I've taken. Let's see. Yeah, there I am. So I don't really want to put myself in there. But now here's the thing. All right. You're going to want to add like some audio to it, right? Now, notice I've used up 19% of the file allowance, right? So you got to pay attention to that. So I'm going to click on next. And now I've got to upload an audio file, and it must be an MP3. So what I do, I always just go to QuickTime. I try to keep things relatively short. When I say always do, I haven't used Story Spheres loads and loads of time, but I do intend to do that. So I'm going to go to QuickTime. I'm going to do a new audio recording. Make sure that I've got it on my Blue Yeti microphone that I'm using here. Looks like it's good. All right. And that's not recording. So I'm going to stop that for a minute. I'm going to go back and take care of that again. Let's cancel that. Oh, don't start going slow on me here, people. Please don't go slow on me here. Okay, I'm going to close a couple of tabs here, actually, and that's going to help. Let's go back to QuickTime because it does work. Trust me, it works. Want to see that I can get my Yeti? Yep, we're good. Fushimi Inari Shrine is a beautiful shrine in Kyoto, Japan. And for some reason, that wasn't recording again. See, I don't know what's going on here, folks, but the idea is you upload an audio file. I think this is probably because I've got a few things opened up here. Let's see if I can find an audio file just to put in there, just so you can see what I'm talking about. So I've clicked on here for audio files. I'm going to go to my desktop. I do know where I've got a few. Background music, and they are copyright free. So let me just grab one. Let's see. That's a little bit long. Don't want to do that one. All right, there we'll go with something that's kind of short. Now note that you can upload, background music, audio files, and things like that. Did you get the new laptop, Sudipta? No, I did not yet. I haven't ordered it. I've been focusing on this GEG stuff suddenly from last Sunday. So, okay. So now I can hear my music. I'm going to take this. I'm going to put this where I want it. I'm going to now not make it background music. I'm going to make it a hotspot. And so when you first put this in, it's going to start playing the song, right? And you're going to make it a hotspot. Now, what I want to do, though, usually what you can do is click it and drag it. All right, so I'm going to click on next here. If I want to add more things or anything like that, then I can do that. I'm going to click save right now. And I can get my embed code. You can change the size and things like that. And you can submit it to a public gallery if you want. All right, so I'm going to go with fixed. You do have to add credits and things like that. So we're not going to go all that far with this. So I want to. All right, this is not allowing me to end. All right, copy the embed code. And okay, so my computer's going a little bit slow here, folks. So I'm just going to go back here for one moment. Let me close that. Again, this is why, Sudipta, I want to get a new computer because this school one I have just doesn't have the power to do what I want to do with it. But anyway, you get the idea. If you want, you can explore and find other story spheres in here. The point's not to do a whole thing on story spheres, but I don't know. Say Venice, for example. Oh, there is a story sphere on Venice. I know. All right, so you might have to, kind of explore the story spheres. If you scroll down, you're going to find, different things that you might find interesting, right? Lego. All right, let's do a Lego story sphere. Anyway, that's story spheres for you. Give it a look. It's pretty cool. One last thing is if you have the money and you want to buy a Ricoh Theta, that's what it looks like. You can take videos and photos in 360. You can even record your voice with 360, which I think brings me to actually my next slide here. Yeah, have you ever thought about using YouTube and 360 videos? Like create a playlist with 360 tours and things like that. That is geography, right? Here's one, for example, on Mitsumine Shrine that I took. I'm going to mute this though. And of course, we'll have to wait for a commercial. I'm not that popular, of course. All right, so I'm going to skip that ad. But, if you can, use your camera to take 360 images using Street View, or if you've got your own camera, then you can create your own tours for students. But if not, there's lots of 360 stuff out there on YouTube, and you can create your own kind of tour of the world, if you will, using YouTube. So check that out. All right, so let me close that one up here. And again, Ricoh Theta, if you have the money and you want to get your own thing, it's quite fun, actually. I enjoy that. But at any rate, create your own playlist on YouTube. All right, so now we're going to jump into my absolute favorite. Yes, M1 chip will do the trick. Yes, that's right. Oh, my goodness. So Google Earth projects. I had the privilege of spending 2 years working on the beta version of this. Let's go with discoveries that changed history, just to show you what this looks like. Some people may or may not have, seen how this looks. So I do want to show you, and then very quickly show you how quickly you can create your own tour. And as that's loading, let me just double check and see I've got my links and things I want. Fantastic. Now you can access this by going to your waffle when you log into Google. You can either go to earth.google.com, or you can go to your waffle when you're logged in and choose the Google Earth icon. Yes, it always does take a little bit of time like this to load. All right, so basically what this does is give a tour of places around the world. Now you could use the table of contents. In this case, for example, maybe you want to do a jigsaw where each student learns about a place and then they teach each other. Or you could just do it chronologically, just the way I've set this up. And you note that it pulls you around the world. It takes you kind of down. You can force people into the street view if you want, like I've done right here. Isn't that cool? I've forced you to come right down here into Pompeii. And then students can actually scroll through here, which I think is pretty cool, right? And of course, it always cites the photographer. And then you click and you go to the next place. But of course, you could do the table of contents. Just checking out the comments here. Think about how you might use this. Let me point out that I've got an image here, and again, this one I've taken you right down into the street view. If you want to, though, you actually could use what they call Pegman, and you could. Okay, now here, because I've forced it, you can't do that. If I was go to 2D here, let's see what. Now I created that, so it's not going to let me. But if you're looking down, you can actually click and drag Pegman, they call it, and put them on different maps. I'll show you how that looks later. But note here, I've got multiple images. You can put videos in from YouTube if you want. This one here in particular is a video. It'll pop up, and then you can watch the video. So with Google Earth projects, you can really come up with some pretty cool stuff. You note here that I've done a lot of research on these. So, wherever students, when I use this with students, it's definitely a jigsaw activity, because for most of these, there is quite a lot of writing, and it's intended for secondary students. Now, you can use HTML to embed third-party things here, but I recommend you take some time to figure it out, because you do have to play around with it a little bit. The way I get over that, though, is just creating what we call a full screen slide, and I just link the text to a quiz, and you click on that, and then boom, we get our Google Forms quiz. And you could link that to anything, Quizlet or whatever. There, let me just pour my water here. Let's see, I can tell I'm probably going to go over my intended 30 minutes, but hey, that's okay, right? All right, so let me go back here now. Okay, so I want to show you quickly how you can make this. All right, but first I'm going to go back. Notice this is view only. Um, that's because I made this in my other account. So this icon right here that I showed you on the left, it looks like a little map pin stuck in there. That is the Google Earth projects icon. Um, Now, Google Earth, actually, I encourage you to explore different things. Like you can find different layers of places around the world. Like you know if you were to hear satellite imagery of glaciers and volcanoes and things like that. So have a look around. Culture, for example, you've got the different cultures around the world. Yeah, look, Tokyo 2020. Yeah, we know how well that went, right? Actually, it was hopeful, I guess. Um, anyway, you can scroll through. These are different tours and things that you can do with your students, right? The time lapse stuff is actually pretty cool as well. You can see lakes drying up. That's not cool, of course. All right, let me go back here. This is called Voyager, by the way. You want to check that out. I'm not going to get so much into the other stuff. You can play around with these icons just for the sake of time. I want to quickly show you how you can create your own tour. So here I'm going to create one on World Heritage Sites. Yeah, there we go. I'm just going to call it the story of the human journey. This is just a little playing around, right? So I'm going to click New Project. I'm going to create the project in Google Drive and just show you really quickly how you do this. Now, you do have to give it a title and you have to give it a description. Nobody's going to see that, actually. It's this first feature where you're going to get the title. So I'm going to click New Feature, and I think I'll start with a full screen slide. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to call it the same thing, the title. And then I'm going to copy my text right here. I click edit and paste match style. I find sometimes there's some kind of wonky issues. All right, and I'm going to copy the image, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go right here, and I'm going to look for the image by pasting the URL. You can look in your photos, do an image search or whatever, but this one on Moai, this is one that I think kind of stands out. Okay, it's not too bad. So I'm going to put that in. Of course, I can mouse over and delete it or edit. I can use just a solid color if I want. And I'm going to go up here and check out preview. And let's see what it's going to look like, right? Okay, I think that looks all right, actually. The resolution of the image isn't so good, but I've got my little background story. So I'm going to go to my X here. I'm going to close it. Real, wow. Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, so now what I'm going to do is at the top here, I'm going to go back. I have a tutorial video, by the way, everybody, where this teaches you how to do everything in about 15 minutes. This is a quick overview. So next is a new feature. I'm gonna search for a place to add. Now you can draw lines on the earth and things like that. Check that out in the overview or the tutorial, I should say. So let me go with my first place. I'm going to go with Shirakawa-go in Japan, a couple hours from where I live. Absolutely beautiful, and it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And that's what this tour is all about. So here I get, yep, that's the place I want to go. So I'm going to click Add to Project. Going to click Add to Project. Come on now, Add to Project. Be nice. And then I got to choose Replace. I know it's kind of a bummer to kind of think about, but okay. So let me see what title I have here. Yeah, I'm going to go with Historic Village. So now I'm actually giving it the proper title that I want. Now here it says no info box, but that means we need one. The large one makes it, kind of that black on the dark box on the side. I prefer that. Okay, and what I'm going to do is take all my text and the same idea. I'm going to edit, paste, and match style. And normally I'm going to link all my images here. In fact, why don't I do at least one for you? In fact, this one, we've only got the one image, so I'm going to copy that. And image attribution, I'm just going to highlight that in bold. I got my link icon here. I'm going to paste that in, click OK. Now I know I've got my citation, but I do have to put my image in there. So I'm going to go to URL again, or I could just do a search for Shirakawa Go, but I know what image I want because I've prepared, right? Now I'm going to add a video. All right. Yeah, well, you're going to like it when I'm glad people get jazzed on this because I think it's totally cool. So let me copy that YouTube video. I will make a YouTube video myself. I'm going to click on the YouTube. So notice how I did that. I've added the camera icon, choose YouTube. I'm going to paste, but you can do a search. And I'm going to do a 360 video of this. Okay. So now I just click preview to see how it's going to look. Okay. That's how my text is going to go. I'm going to close that. I want to add just a little bit of space right here because it seemed a little squished together. And I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. I'm going to try to find the actual village. Now, my computer's going slow here because I need that M1 chip, right, Sudipta? I want to find those houses. Let's see. Okay, that looks like it might be one right there. So what I'm going to do, maybe it's a shrine, I don't know. But I'm going to click and drag my Pegman right down to here. And I'm going to hope this is the image that I want, but you'll get the point that I'm trying to make. Oh, gorgeous. Yeah, that's kind of what we're looking for. Let me scroll around a little bit. Okay, not exactly the one that actually, yeah, that's the money shot right there. So now what I want to do is click capture this image, that little blue button in the bottom left. And what that's going to do is force people to look at that when they look at the tour. So let's see how this looks. I'm going to go back now. I'm going to click on present. You can see here too, I've got certain icons here that mean something. This I know is a place. This I know is actually a full screen slide, right? And again, there's more you can do, but check out the tutorial. But let's have a look at what this is going to look like. Okay, so the human journey, and then I click on this and it's going to go. Now here's the deal. Normally it'll take you around the world and down because I built this and I'm already logged into it, it automatically takes me there. But then I can scroll around in 360. All right, Google Earth projects. That's it. I do want to point out one thing though, is right up here, you can share and collaborate with other people. And it goes directly to Google Drive. So you can open it in Google Drive and then you can share it that way as well. All right. So you can get your students actually building one project, which I have done. I've got to get it linked up actually. But my students had lessons on conflict in the world, and we put them in Google Earth. Got to dig that one up. All right. I'm going to close this for now though, because we're going to move on to the next one. And by the way, here is the tutorial for you. Have a look at it on your own. I want to show you a few things here with Google My Maps, just a few things that you can do that you may not think about. First one is plate tectonics, in that you can create these polygons. This was actually made by a grade 7 student of mine ages ago, and I made a copy of it. And if you click, you can actually add more information here if you want. Details you can have pop up and talk about, details about what this specific plate is all about. I've kept it blank, but I think it's kind of cool. Another thing, here is Panikin and Pinta. So here's a teacher in Australia took this story really about a novel, right? There's a story about these two penguins and they're traveling through, South Australia, kind of thing. So you can take a book and actually turn it into a story on a map using Google My Maps, right? Which is pretty cool. Here's something a teacher did about European exploration, and they used the polygon feature to draw these different directions and that kind of thing. So the students actually put these in. Now, this was not a detailed thing. If you click on some of the explorers, you'll notice there are some details for some of them. Some of them don't have any details, but it's an idea, right? Which is why I decided to put this in here. So again, it could be, navigators from around the world. Here's one with conflict stories that my students did. All right, so we did this last year, and we click all items here. And for example, you click on North Korea. Now we've got the image, like a link to an image that students can, the people can read and look at where they got information from the source, for example, and the student's summary. Let's see, these were just brief summaries on issues that are happening, conflicts that are happening around the world. So it's just basically the students filled out a Google form, and I just uploaded it. And I'm going to show you how to do that in a moment. Social justice in the news. All right. So when we had a lot of protests in 2020, I had students check out, where are people protesting around the world? And of course, they, chose an image, and we didn't get a chance to quite finish this because the idea is that their photo is going to go up here where, people can look at it. But I'm going to show you how to do that in just a moment. So those are a few ideas. And yes, I do have a tutorial for you. But what we're going to do right now is go to Google My Maps, and I'm going to very quickly use the same topic of World Heritage Sites to show you how to do this. So you can go to Google My Maps, and whoops. So I'm just going to type in My Maps. Sorry, everybody. Now you could go to your waffle again when you're logged into Gmail and go to Google Drive, and then you can access maps from there. If you're logged in, you can just go to Google My Maps and then figure out or just log in that way. Okay, so here you can look through maps that I own, maps that I don't own, maps that are shared with me, that kind of thing, right? What I want to do is click create a new map, and this will go fairly quickly because we already have our text, right? Okay, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to grab my title again, and I'm going to do map title, right? See that? And I'm going to put a description. It's going to be the same thing that I'm putting everywhere else. Okay, and I don't have an image in there, so I don't really need that. And I'm going to click save. All right, so let me just quickly add a couple of places here. We're going to start with Shirakawa Go again. I'm going to Shirakawa Go. I type that in, and then I just have to click add to map. Okay, now remember, this is not Google Earth, so you're not going to be able to, kind of scroll through. But what you can do is edit, all right? And we'll show you how this is going to look in a minute, but let me go back and get the text. And of course, I want my image attribution in here now as well. For videos, it's not such a problem because, the YouTube video is automatically kind of there, right? So now I'm going to click on my camera, but first let's click save. All right, so now I got my text in there. Let me go with my image first, right? So I'm going to choose this. I'm going to copy the URL. I hope I'm not going too fast here, but I'm going to click on my camera icon. And like other apps, I can use an image URL. That's the same image as before. I'm going to put that in there, and yay. Now I've got my image in there, but I want to add a video too. So I'm going to click this plus button. You can click the trash can to trash it if you want. All right, and we're at 34 minutes. I knew I was going to go over. I knew it. I'm going to click, and I'm going to go to YouTube because I've got the URL. I'm going to put it in there. I'm going to tap on it, click select, and then I'm going to click save. Now, if I want, though, I can change things. I can go to my paint bucket, and maybe I want to change the color of the pin. There's a Japan, maybe red, or maybe you're looking at world cultural sites versus world historic sites. You can choose more icons here. Let's see, places. I'm going to choose that. Let's see. I want to choose something a little more, UNESCO-y. I don't know. Let's just I'll just put that here. It kind of looks like a bit of a museum kind of thing. Anyway, and I'm going to change the color of the pin just because it doesn't stand out so much right now. Yeah, let's go with traditional, kind of reddish. Okay. Now let me add one more in a place around the world, somewhere else far from Japan. So Great Zimbabwe. All right, let's do that. Yeah, Great Zimbabwe. Got a great video from Ted with Great Zimbabwe as well. All right, so I've chosen my place. I'm going to click Add to Map, and I'm going to get my text here. What? You see how fast this is going? Because I'm already prepared with my information. Doesn't take much time at all. Let me click Edit here. Boom, going to get that in. Click Save. I'm going to get my first image. Let me copy that from Wikimedia Commons. Put that in. Okay, image URL. Put that in there. I'm going to click Select. And now I want to add my video because I got a cool video. This is a really cool video. Boom. I'm going to click Save and go back to my camera. Going to go with YouTube. Yeah, great. I love TED Ed animations. They are fantastic. I'm going to click Save. Now, I could add different layers here, right? If I want to add a layer, that means I could have like places in Africa, places in Asia, places in North America. You would just click by adding a layer, right? But here we're not, just for the sake of today. So I want to see how it looks. I'm going to click Preview. Yes, it is very cool, isn't it? It is very cool. All right, so now I can see my two different pins. This one's a little more unique. So I click on Great Zimbabwe, and I get that. And note here that I can click on Maps. Whoops. And let me pull that out. Now, if I scroll down here, it's got 9 photos and 1 video already in Google Maps. But if I tap here, that image pops up, and I choose my arrow. Then I get my video. Yay, I love it. So let me go back, and I click back here. And if I want to go to Shirakawa Go, same idea. Click here, click on my arrow, and I've got that, enhanced multimedia feeling for my students, and the writing is there. Now you can do this. You can create a map, and I want to, actually you can share, by the way, too. You want to toggle anyone with the link can view, and then let others search for the map. And then, of course, if you want to embed it or share it on Google Drive, this is where you go. I'm actually not going to share this with the world right now. I'm going to close it, but I do want to show you another way to create a map. In fact, you know what? Let's just go with this. We're on this map. What I would normally do, obviously, is collect information from students all at once. In fact, you know what? Let me just go to My Maps. I'm going to click New Map. Notice I click the ellipse here, and I'm coming to a new map. And I'm going to put avian flu. Yes, avian flu, folks, because I'm going to show you how you can really quickly make a map. I'm going to go to a Google Sheet. All right, so basically I've created a Google Sheet with a location. It's got to have the location, people. I downloaded this actually from a health data center where, I could get free data, right? And this is what I'm going to do right here in the top left where it says import. I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to select a file from Drive because this file is in Google Drive. And I'm going to click on that. I'm going to search for it. No match is found. What? I'm going to click on this because it's definitely in there somewhere. All right, here's plan B. If I can't find it, I find the title of it. All righty. Just wait a moment. This is going to see all this data in here and these different locations, right? This was looking at avian flu in 2018. All right, so let me just go back to my thing here, and I'm going to search my drive, see if I can find that. There, it came up. So if you can't use the link, use a file, the file name. Now, here's the thing. You've got to choose location first, right? So I'm going to choose location, and then I click continue, and then you want to click location again, and then click finish. Watch the magic happen, people. Boom, there is my data. And when I preview it, I click on what's going on in Russia, and then I get my data right here. So students can, use this as an opportunity, depending on the amount of data that you have, to kind of see, compare, the outbreak of, for example, the avian flu. All you need to do is get a spreadsheet with data and the location. You need the location. And then you need to get, where is I going with this? You need to get information, right? Now you could use a Google form, have students fill out the form, make sure they have the location of where they're, putting information and images on. And then, um, they fill out the form and you turn it into a spreadsheet and then just upload it. It really is, excuse me, that simple. One more to go, Google Arts and Culture. Now, I'm not going to go deep into this because my friend Sumeda is going to be working on this a little bit later. But I do want to point out a few little things. Google Arts and Culture has a bunch of stuff that you can use where you can kind of play. Remember, at the beginning of this session, I was showing you that database that a friend put together. Okay, a lot of that stuff is linked to Google Arts and Culture. I'm not going to, like I said, go through it because you're going to get a session a little bit later, but you have all these different opportunities to explore things. There's some fun stuff like, games like the Blob Opera and things like that. So if you were to click Explore, for example, you can look for 360 videos. You can look for Street View, 360 images, for example, of famous places. The Palace of Versailles, for example, is in here. And they have different rooms in Versailles, which is totally cool. You're going to try all of these out. Hey, Kamal, it is epic, isn't it? I absolutely love this stuff. Okay, so you can search by category and things like that. Again, it's arts and culture, right? So it's not all just about history. Historic events, for example, if you want, like I do teach the Vietnam War. I teach the Cold War, actually. Let me click on that. So I click on that, and if I click the heart mark, that means it's going to go into my favorites. And then, of course, I can go to my favorites and I can see what my favorite stories and themes and things are. It's a good place to archive ideas I want to use for my classes. And I can quickly find a single source, or I can tell them just go to this. You can create galleries with paintings and things like that too, and photographs. I really feel like I don't want to get too deep into this because there is a session on offer later tonight and you will be able to look at it. And I've already hit the 42-minute threshold. Let's see. So I do encourage you, please have a look at Google Arts and Culture. There's a lot of cool stuff in there. I would say, especially if you're an elementary teacher, a literature teacher, art teacher, social studies teacher, geography teacher. Oh, well, if you're just a teacher, you should check it out. It's way cool. So what I would like to do is now kind of grab the, yes, dun, 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 dun. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. I'm going to share with you the form. If you fill out the form, you can get a certificate. Right here, folks. I've just placed that in. Let's hope that kind of goes through. I'm just going to wait for it to pop up. Thank you very much for joining me. I do encourage you to, try some of this stuff and get me at Nathan Gildart on Twitter, because I would love to highlight some cool stuff that your students possibly have made when I'm doing sessions like this again. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. You make the session enriching by putting your comments on the phone here. And making it valuable for me as well. I really enjoy this. So get out there, create, get your students to create, share it with the world. Directly let me know how it looks, and I can share it with my students and with the world as well. I will retweet and share on social media. Take care, everybody. Enjoy the rest of the sessions. We have a whole pile coming up for the rest of the day. We've got like 5 more coming. So, in fact, let me just quickly throw that schedule in the comments there again one more time. And if you want to learn about Google Arts and Culture in particular, I tell you that one is coming up and it'll be a deep dive. So enjoy. A virtual hug to you too. Thank you. All right. We're going to end the broadcast here, but thanks very much, everyone. Take care. Enjoy the rest of today and tomorrow for GEG APAC Weekend 5.0. I'm loving it. We're having a great time. I'll see other people in their sessions. Bye-bye.